I've always wanted to be a counselor.
I'd wanted to be a doctor.
A software engineer.
Computer scientist has always been a dream of mine.
I just wanted to be an engineer.
I wanted to be a medical doctor.
I'd always wanted to be a computer engineer.
I wanted to become a teacher.
I wrote my JAMB in 2011. I actually did not get the JAMB. I did not get the cutoff mark, but I was offered an admission at University of Maiduguri, but I didn't go at that time because of the insurgency, Boko Haram. At first, I was actually depressed because all my friends that were in the same class were actually going to study the same course, and most of them got it, and I didn't get it. 3 of us didn't get it actually. But then, well, I was at home for almost a year, but I didn't sit at home. But I was actually looking out for other schools. I wrote an exam for School of Nursing in Yola, and then I wrote an exam for Nigerian Police Academy. That was 2011, that was when it started. I wrote the post-UTME. I still didn't get it. I still looked for an admission outside the country in Ghana. I got the admission, but then my father said he couldn't send me out because we are so much, and then his financial status couldn't handle that. So I stayed back in Nigeria, and suddenly I was brought back to FC Yola, where I started my NCE.
I applied for computer science, but in school they didn't give me computer science. I was given mathematics, so I had no option but to pursue a career in mathematics. Mathematics for me was, I didn't like it actually. So for the 4 years I studied that course, I was actually very, very angry at myself. And that was why when I finished school, I started Googling, oh, where can a maths graduate work in? Because I was totally confused. I'm the first child of my parents, so it was just like a joy that, oh yeah, the first person has gotten admission into school, and they did not want me to wait another year because they didn't know what the future held. So it was like, okay, this person has already gotten admission, so just pursue a career. You can maybe do a change of course later and any other thing, but that didn't work out, so I had to do maths all through.
After my graduation from the school, 2014, I wrote for JAM 2015, so I didn't make it then. The first JAM I took, I did the screening for FUTA. I was selected as part of people that came for the screening, but I wasn't admitted. They didn't even give me, sometime when you are admitted, they'll give you another course. I was expecting that at least, let me just, but I didn't get any form of admission. Everyone wants to go to school,
First course I applied for was computer engineering. But that didn't work out, and then I moved on to computer science. I was obviously disappointed because given my grades back then in school, I was expected to have gotten that.
I didn't get the opportunity to be enrolled as a medical doctor when I first tried. I tried to enter the university in 2017, and I didn't get in as a medical doctor. I got into plant science. Yes, and I applied for medicine. So at first I was like, no, it's medicine I want to do. So I didn't go. I stayed at home for a whole year. And then after, I applied again and I got plant science. Maybe I don't know book or something, but I got plant science again. So I was like, let me just go. Maybe that's my calling.
The first time they gave a particular course, we thought she should just wait for the exact course she wants to do. But when we see that is not forthcoming, we decided she go for that. And in the process, she continued doing jam until 300 level. They gave her pharmacy. So I was like, will you be able to cope? And she said she will try. So she combined 400 level plant science with 100 level pharmacy. So eventually she finished plant science with second class upper, and she had a good grade in 100 level pharmacy. So she's in 200 level before the strike started early this year.
That's was terrible. So it was terrible because I stay in Lagos and I cannot be going from Calabar to Lagos and Lagos to Calabar. So I had to stay in school because there was always hope as we call off strike. So you're not in school, you're not in the hostel. And now, like sometimes I used to be like only 4 in the hostel, in the full hostel, and it's not very safe. So ASU is terrible. Sorry, not ASU, the strike.
I know I spent about 4 or 5 months before actually starting because of ASU and in between. So we should have definitely graduated earlier.
Because when the strike first started, I was just like not really okay. I would just sleep, wake up, be crying that what would I do with my life, safe, concept. I was this kind of depression tons.
I was not happy. If I had had my way, I would have taken her to private school because she had a good grade.
The way my parents are is not really what I want for myself or for anybody. My dad is not really present in the family. My dad is a medical lab scientist. Although, I don't know, it's as if he doesn't get as much. He's always usually promises that this would happen. Okay. So it's always usually promises that, okay, I'll come, I'll do this for you, I'll do that for you. But it's always like, it's not possible anymore. So, actually, I wasn't even supposed to go to a public school. The promise was we'll go to a private school and then I'll study medicine. It was Bowen University in Iwo, but it was not possible. So, and then my mom has been the one carrying the weight from onset, so it has not been easy for her. Sometimes she'll just be crying and be like, she doesn't know what to do and all of that. So it usually inspires me to want to be better, to want to help them. This strike period, I started working at a farm and I worked there for 1.5 months. The work is hard. I just went there because I looked for work. I was looking for where to work, but there was no, everybody was saying that if the strike should be called off tomorrow, what will you do? Will you leave us and go, something like that? So I just had to go there because that place, they actually pay, they count the money daily. So if you stop now, your money stops from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and you work from 7 to 12. Then from 8 to 12, then from 1 to 6. And it's not just sitting down work, it's a tedious work.
When the strike started, she decided she doesn't just want to sit at home, she wants to be doing something. And the place she wanted to go, they use people there, and those people that have worked there, they don't have good story to tell about them. So I discouraged her that, you don't have the power to work in that type of a place. And she said, no, don't worry. I'm a girl, they will give me soft work. So she went there. She didn't allow me to know the type of work she was doing there. It was after she stopped. She was telling me the type of hard work she passed through in that place. I felt bad. That if I had had enough, she would not go there.
After I graduated, I worked, you would not believe it, I worked as a laborer. Yeah, I couldn't lay my hands on jobs. I don't like being idle, so I had to pretend that I'm not a graduate. I went into the factory, and I was working as a factory worker in a Chinese company. The experience was really horrible. One of the women there, she's not a graduate, but because of the circumstance of her family, she had to come and do the job to keep her family together because she just gave birth to twins. So one of the days when she was working, the factory director said she was not working very fast. So he now kicked her with his leg on her tummy, yes. I'm serious. He kicked her so hard that the woman fell down, and she was sick for a week. She didn't come to work. So I was very angry. I went to meet the man that you don't treat people this way. But funny enough, other colleagues were supporting the man that do I want to take food away from their mouth? Why am I lauding something like this? I should leave the case alone. I took it up. I really took it up. The man would have been jailed if not that the lady in question later said she doesn't want issues, so they just paid her some kind of what will I call it, money to just keep her silent. But the man I think the man was dismissed at the end of the day. It was very traumatic for me. It was.
After my secondary school, I wasn't staying with my parents again. My parents moved to Abeokuta, so I stayed in Lagos. They weren't buoyant enough to sponsor my education. I still have to feed myself. So from there, I went to teaching line. So I taught for about 3 years, and I was left with no option actually. The secondary school I was teaching, I was laid off. They asked me to leave due to some challenges. The school was just growing up.
After school, I've worked as a market research analyst. I've worked in offline communications. I've worked in retail, I've literally sold popcorn, food and beverages.
We all know how Nigeria is and the economy, and it's not even easy to start a career per se. NYSC came up and I decided to, I got a job as a customer service, and I decided to pursue that path. I felt like I could do more. I decided to pursue a career in business development. So I did an admin role. I got a job with an oil and gas. This was in the midst of the COVID. Actually, I got this job as a business development executive. So it was a new role and kind of like a new experience for me. Into it, I realized that it was a lot for me. It was a lot. I was at a point I became depressed, I became sad, and I wasn't really giving it all at the job again. So it was after then I started considering moving into tech.
My mom actually called me. She said, because I stayed home for a month without doing anything. So she was like, is this how you're going to continue? You don't have to, because looking at me from my own background, from my very young age, I used to say, I cannot learn anything because I cannot learn all those apprentice job and all that. So I was like, no, I can't. When I've drank Gary at home and for a month, I was like, I just have to go and learn. So I was left with the option to learn tiling as people and I was left with the option to learn screening and POP and painting. So I took painting because something I can quickly grab. So I felt like, let me just learn this one so I can just start. 2017, I left teaching. So I went into painting. I learned handiwork, so I became a painter. We call it, there's a job we call screening. I do that too. I do wall screening. I do anything that has to do it. So fast forward to 2019, I went to the School of Interior Design. A family friend sponsored me to the School of Interior. It was a 3-month course. So I learned that too. I graduated, and when I earned the certificate, I tried to search for a job. After the certificate, I felt like, okay, because the school offered through an internship. After a course, you take internship. So when I was going out to search for a job, at least now that I'm a certified interior designer, I found out that these companies I used to go to, they don't. Whenever I tender my certificate, they are after my degree. But that was also something that actually discouraged me, because I heard, so is this how this thing is going to be like this? I haven't tried my best to go to interior, to any certificate as an interior designer, and I was able to graduate as one of the best students, even at the School of Interior Design. So I was feeling like, at least isn't that enough? But yet it wasn't hard,
When I was a painter, I felt very bad, and the reason was because I don't think that's what he deserves. He's a very good guy. He's good at what he does, and he was the best student. So why won't you give him the job? Because he doesn't have the qualification of probably BSc or whatever, but he has the qualification in interior decoration, and that's what you require. Then why opt him out? So it was, I felt, there was a time I told him, I said, leave them, man, just.
The job is just like, is a stressful one for me. Like, very stressful. It got to a point I was like, I can't continue because I began to see some sign that it won't, if I continue this work, my health is at stake. Because my hand, I can't hold something and my hand will be shaking because I work mostly with my hand. So when I hold something, I see that it will be vibrating. I'm like, so even my boss that taught me work, he also very today, hospital, tomorrow, I'm like, I cannot continue this work. So this year, early this year, my brother is into tech. He's a Java, he's a software developer, he codes. Right. So he always tells me like, guy, come and learn tech. I feel like this thing is not for me. Tech, me. How do I want to do it?
After I left the factory job, I got another job as with Prince Ebano at the Ebano stores. I was working as one of the attendants, the floor attendants. So I worked there. It was a good experience. I get to mingle with a lot of people, shoppers. So that was from there I got another job. So one of the shoppers gave me contact. So I now worked as a field marketer before I said, let me try agric. There was something that happened that I would never forget. After I lost my job, I almost relapsed. So one day he called me and I thought maybe he wanted to share because we share ideas a lot. He called me and said, Rose, why have you been crying in the night? I was shocked. Like, he was able to sense what's going on. I moved into agric in 2018, like officially. I had my own farm. I had a farm of like 10 acres. I did vegetables like ugu, then I did cassava. So I was into farming, farm management. Some of my friends gave me some cash to farm for them. So I will manage their farm for like 1 year. I'll collect my own money for managing the farm. So at the end of the day, I'll get buyers for them and they would dispose the crops and they take their money. So I did that for like 3 years until that was 2021. I had issues with where the person I leased land for. So the man came up that he wanted to use his estate because the estate was up to 1,000 hectares. I had some part of it. So he said he wanted to use the whole estate for banana plantation. That was why there was no way I could get the kind of land around that area. So I had to opt out. I came back into the job market again, started looking for a job. Then I got one job with an agric firm, of which I got paid just once. And the remaining months, the man refused to pay us. The company collapsed. And that was the point I started looking for the opportunities online, and I landed on the Ingressive for good opportunity.
COVID struck early 2020. It was a very hard year for the entire world. It was a very hard year for the cinema industry. Hollywood practically stopped distributing movies because cinemas globally were deemed as a non-essential service, and it was shut down for a long time. So I suddenly had a lot of time on my hands. I tried to fill it with learning something new, and that's actually where Ingressive for Good came in.
Ingressive for Good started about 2017. At that time, we were running Ingressive Advisory. So basically, we were doing market research, market operations. We were trying to pull in companies to show them the opportunities that exist within the continent. So in 2018, the venture capital fund split off, and it left behind a lot of our social impact programs, a lot of that social infrastructure that we had built under the advisory company. It was just perfect to launch an NGO. It was an amazing opportunity to shift and focus solely on impact and changing the world and changing people's lives. So that took place in July 2020.
2020, we started with $0, 0 people, 0 everything.
So in 2020, when we first started, it was during the COVID, so we call ourselves COVID babies. Everyone was in that state of where we didn't know what the future would hold, and everyone was at home, and nobody knows what to do. So the community was in that state where, what can I learn? What should I do next? Ingressive for Good came as the savior. We came with courses, we came with opportunities, we came with resources for African youths to be able to start a career in tech.
First, learning those tech skills are very expensive. It's not cheap at all. And then the affordability of that is like people have other things that are necessity, more pressing, and they couldn't afford it. They didn't even have access to the resources, information that they needed to be able to get the skills that they needed, you know. And even now that we're Ingressive for Good, we can see how that is playing out, where people come in and they're like, I was going to tech, but I don't know where to start, you know. And these were the realities, but then they didn't have Ingressive for Good to guide them, and that's really why we created it.
At that point in time, there were these there was this free Coursera subscription that was offered to members of the community, and I was like, you know what, I like learning, I'm going to take this one up. I subscribed to courses in data science. There was a course on, I think, GCP, Google Cloud Platform, and the third one was product management. So I was doing those concurrently just to fill my time, just trying to like upskill in something else, and product management stuck. You know, I was like, this is really interesting. This was 2020, COVID. Cinema was shut down for, if my recollection is right, somewhere between 6 to 7 months. Yeah, about 6 to 7 months. It was hard, you know, because pay was affected at that point in time. And no, I would not have been able to afford the program. I think it was like $400 or $300 for a year. Absolutely couldn't have afforded it at that point in time. I was financially fighting for my life. I started my education in product management. There was this really good course at the University of Virginia on, I think it was like fundamentals of product management. It was like an entire specialization. So what that course helped me to do was to consolidate those experiences, consolidate those product adjacent experiences, and it helped me sell myself to my current employer, where I had my first product gig.
I've been seeing the Ingressive for Good flyer, the collaboration with I4G and Zuri training. So I saw it. I've been seeing it all around. People post it on Twitter. In fact, for people share it, my brother too share it on WhatsApp. But I just feel like, I don't know if this is the right one to go for. So I saw it, but later I started to use on Twitter again. So that was how I registered.
One of the things I used in encouraging him while he was, when I was, talking him over to tech was someone I encouraged like him, and he's now earning $2,000. I showed him the WhatsApp chat. I said, look at this guy. This was one of my, junior guys when we were in school. So I encouraged him, look at what he's earning now. You can do it.
When I decided to start this career into tech, that was in March. I'd picked a course, a data science course, but I didn't really understand. I was still very, very much confused. And my sister introduced me to I4G, like, there's this data camp scholarship going on organized by Ingressive for Good. You can try it out and all of that. So I went on Twitter and I saw the scholarship. This was like, I think a week before the scholarship was closing and all of that. So I decided to give it a try and I applied for it. And luckily for me, I got the scholarship. I was really very excited. I even made a post online showing how excited I was about the scholarship. So I was actually very excited.
We looked at data. Only 20 to 25% of women occupy roles in tech companies. And that's not a large number. We stood up and said, what can we do about it? And so I remember that I said, let's run a program where we're going to train 1,000 women every year or every quarter in a tech skill. Let's start with design. And we started. We ran the first one. People always tell us that people don't apply for stuff. We received 17,000 plus applications. Of course, some men applied, but it wasn't a lot of men. It was like less than 500 men. Over 16,000 plus women applied for this particular program. And so that already debunked the application myth. It just sort of felt like if women felt like they were being spoken to and they were being cared for, they would apply for opportunities. But what was heartbreaking about that was we had to turn down over 15,000 women because we only had space for 1,000. And that has become a recurring theme at I4G. We have way less opportunities than the people who really need them.
When I got the scholarship, I was shocked because I didn't know I was going to be picked. That's the truth. Considering the number of people that applied, I was surprised that I was given the opportunity.
When I first got the scholarship, I was happy. I felt great. It was a answer to prayer at that time because I was looking for something to do. Like I told you I worked, but that was not what I wanted to do. It was just what I had to do. I was looking for something that I can use to occupy myself and also earn from it. So when I saw it, I was very happy that yes, I was chosen. Like so my scholarship, so my application was credible, really. So I was really happy and I felt great. Going through the scholarship was fun because I was getting to learn something new and something that I was interested in. Like I was really interested in designing, and it's not something like school that is class boring, but I was getting to do something and then it will come out very nice. So it was fun, and listening to the person that taught us, it was like really interesting. This tech thing, this graphic design thing that I'm into, it has given me another kind of confidence. No, I'm already, I can do this. I can do something very beautiful with my hands, and then it will be appreciated. So it makes me feel kind of different.
Eventually, she finished. She had a certificate. I was so happy when I saw the certificate. So again, she put in for the system and they gave it to her.
I struggled because I didn't have a laptop, so and data too was an issue. So I usually take the lessons in the night, midnight subscription and all of that. So light too was a struggle. Sometimes there'll be no light at our place, so I didn't stay at home. Like my school has campuses, and my campus for medical students is in Shagamu. That's where I live. My parents are in Shagamu. My school house is also in Shagamu. So instead of going up during the strike, I had to stay in my house because the light at my house is better than at home. So I had to stay alone and then borrow a laptop from my neighbor. My neighbor at my house has a laptop, but me, I did not have. My laptop was right off. So it was challenging the way that I didn't have data to attend classes in the day. There's an app, Photopea. It's like Photoshop. So I didn't know it was on phone. But when I found out that I wanted to do a mock-up, so I watched a YouTube video. So I saw that I could download something like that on my phone. I've applied for a laptop program before at the organization, but I didn't win it. So I was just like, okay, that one has gone. So when I Ingressive for Good, during one of the onboarding or the meeting or on the group, on the Telegram platform we have, there was a time they said there will be laptop support for people that don't have laptops. So I was very happy because I could practice what was being taught in class, because normally I would just watch and then try to do something. So when I found out, I was very happy.
I borrowed laptops from my friends, and this week when I borrow one from maybe one of my friends, and next week it's another one that I'm going to borrow. So that was how I started my tech journey. It was very challenging at first. As at that time, there was no data, there was nothing. It's just what we got. It was just on offline videos that we got, HTML, CSS. That was the only thing we had to learn.
Taking the scholarship without a laptop, it was quite difficult. I joined a boot camp last year. That was in October 2021 rather, and I didn't even see it through because I didn't have a laptop, and most of the tools they were introducing, I needed a laptop to go through. So that actually discouraged the whole tech thing for me. I had followed a couple of data persons online, data professionals, people that had already gone far in that field, and I realized that for you to actually succeed, you need to start working on projects and building a portfolio. And for me to do all these things, building projects, I need a laptop to actually do that. Yes, I could learn on my phone, but I couldn't actually practicalize what I had learned or put it into practice actually. So I needed a laptop for this. I couldn't get a laptop for myself because I wasn't working one, so there was no point of me saving up, say okay, I have an income that I'm saving up to get a laptop for myself. So that was kind of like a challenge. I was just left to my phone alone.
Then the day that the email came in, I was at home that time, so throughout the day I didn't check my phone, I didn't open my mail. So in the evening I just said, let me even check my phone. I just saw, congratulations, you're funny. I was at home, I screamed. I said, Henry is the name of my brother. Vivian is the name of my sister. You guys should come, you guys should have won the laptop. Everybody was very, very happy. My mom was like, we can go and collect it now. It was very, very happy moment. I was like, I won a laptop. Like, then I collected it. Like, it was very, my reaction was like, I could not still believe that, okay, I have a laptop.
I made a little bit of progress with my phone, but it was not, I wasn't learning much because it was not giving me exactly, I couldn't practice. It was frustrating. That's the word to use. It was frustrating because the course I went for is a design course. It's not something I can do with my phone. So I knew that for me to get the optimum value, for me to learn very well, I had to use a laptop. I met a lot of my friends, but they seemed busy with their phones, with their laptop rather. But some of them said their laptops were bad. So I thought of what do I do? Tried going to some workstation that I know of, but it didn't give any good feedback. When I got the laptop, I was shocked. In fact, for days, I was still holding the laptop like, God, is this true? Is this real? I couldn't believe it. But thank God it's real. It's real.
Wow. Thank you. In fact, I thought that it's a joking matter because of what is happening these days. I have a friend of mine. He said he wanted a laptop. They asked him to send 18,000 for deliverance from Abuja. Of both the laptop and 18,000, he did not see them till today. That's why I say it was a surprise to me seeing you people coming with a laptop to deliver to her. I say, This shows me that this is a really company that one have to be confident with it. So it was a very, very marvelous and exciting exercise. So that is why I'm very happy to be here.
The laptop has helped me a lot in doing the tasks, doing the jobs I have gotten. Since I got my laptop, I wrote my testimony on my Facebook timeline, and people have been contacting me via DM. How did you do it? What can we do? So I've been giving out the links, I've been giving support.
The project Real Housewife of Lagos, I was actually inspired by an argument, funny enough. So I'd watched this program with a couple of friends, and we've kind of had arguments about whose fave was the most talked about and all of that. So, and at that point, I was looking for a project I could work on, because I said whenever I decide working on projects, that I want to work on something that I could relate with, and even other persons that are not even data analysts can see and fall in love with. So I looked at the Real Housewife of Lagos, that okay, yeah, we're having this argument. Why not use data to talk about this stuff? The challenge for me then was I was using my friend's laptop, my sister's laptop actually, and she's also on her own journey, and it was quite difficult. She would learn all through the day. So for me, my own time was night. One night, I took the laptop after I learned web scraping and Twitter scraping from Data Camp. So I decided to practicalize that. One night, I took one night to scrape these tweets, all tweets relating to Real Housewife of Lagos. So using Python, I did that in one night. Then the next night, I started building this dashboard. I started working on this project. When I started, I wasn't very comfortable with the color and the layout of what I was getting and the fonts and everything. So I said to I'd already finished, like I was almost done with it, but I just cancelled everything and I started again. And then my sister was like, what's the problem? Why are you doing all of this? I said, no, I actually want to put a lot into this. If I'm going to do it, let me do it right. So I started all over again. I didn't know it was going to get that much like everybody was kind of interested. As at then, I know that project kind of trended on Twitter in the tech community, but it was quite challenging because I had to wait till night when the laptop would be available for me to use it. I screamed in my room when I saw the mail, when I got the mail that I had received a laptop from Ingressive for Good.
Major struggles would be when we don't necessarily have enough budgets to cover all programs that we want to be able to do. One recent one would be when we have students that are already learning. They're already taking their scholarships, they've gotten the opportunity, but they don't have the tools to be able to access those opportunities. And mind you, a lot of them, they are really trying their best. They go to their friends, they go to cafes, but it just doesn't cut it. And they apply for laptop scholarships, and we're only able to give like a very minute percent out of the number of people that applied. That it hurts actually, being not able to give laptops to everyone that has this scholarship, right? Giving the scholarship is one thing, but then being able to give them the tool to be able to complete that scholarship for their life to be able to really, really transform. That's the current struggle for me right now. So we did this 7 days of design challenge. It was again during the COVID period. We wanted something that would make the students engaged and something that would get them to start doing. Practicing their skills. This particular person, he didn't necessarily have a laptop. His laptop was bad, but he still struggled to do it. He borrowed laptop. He didn't have internet. He went into school to use the school's internet and things like that. It was really, really inspiring. I think he was one of the winners as well. And now he has worked in a tech company, in a fintech company, and now he's already teaching people how to do design. And once we touch one person's life, that person touches almost times 10. We have ambassadors that lead I4G circles in institutions. So these are people that, they want to start a career in tech. They're already in school, or they just, want something different from what they're currently studying. And they come to I4G, they join I4G to be able to have those experiences, to be able to meet other community members that are also doing the same thing that they're doing.
There was this guy I heard, he was a friend actually. I met him through GDSC, that's Google Developer Student Community. I had his contact. We met in Bauchi actually, where we went for a course conference. So that's when we exchanged numbers. So I was looking at his updates and I saw him posting something for I4G Circle. So I asked him, "Yo, bro, what's that?" And he said that he was an ambassador for Ingressive Campus Ambassador. Yes, he gave me the link, and I subscribed to the mail letter. So I'm always seeing the mail letters. Even before then, I've been seeing updates on his statuses, and I've liked Ingressive for good at that moment. So the resources at that time was very helpful. And when the call for application, started, I immediately applied. I think maybe I was one of the first people that applied. Yeah, because I was so very enthusiastic about, joining community and spreading the love of tech.
As at then, when we applied for Ingressive ambassadorship, we applied independent of each other. We didn't know we all applied. We were 3 in fact, and then the third person is still an employee of Grey actually. So we applied not knowing the rest of us applied, and then we only just found out when we were all picked.
I saw it on Twitter. Yeah, I saw his kid post about it as his kid is this guy. So I applied. Then apparently these other guys applied. Then we got it.
Back then, I wanted to get involved in the tech community, apart from just being an attendee. Before we applied, I know we were frequent attendees of GDG Dev Fest, and events like that. So this was just like a step up for us to see how we could move from just being mere attendees to actually being involved in planning and execution of a tech event. The school system is literally fighting you for trying to host something as big as this, because we try to host a tech event, obviously as campus ambassadors. We had to try to motivate students to attend and actually see the need for this. We signed an undertaking, literally putting our admission on the line just to use the school's software lab. Now the software lab had about 50 computers or so, and I think it was donated by ETF fund or something to the school.
Yeah.
So it was pretty big deal to use such a lab. So first we were fighting, I won't say fighting the school, we were literally begging the school to give us this facility to host this program. And then secondly is we didn't have enough people with interest. I think the major challenge for them would be most of them didn't have laptops and all too. So even if they learned one or two things during such events, they won't be able to put it to practice. And I think that was the major drawback in such communities, universities and the likes. A lot of them didn't have laptops. 90% of them didn't have laptops.
There were other technical challenges, lights, generator.
Yeah.
So those were just the minor challenges we had to scale through. I think another challenge was that there was a lack of exposure. So this doesn't happen before. So they didn't know what to expect. So if you don't know what to expect, you're always on the fence, right? So that was another thing.
I4G has been the best community, tech community that I've received a lot of resources from and I've benefited a lot from. Because communication is one key part of a journey, and with all the rest of the tech community groups, I've not actually received that. And with the love I've been receiving from the Ingressive for Good team, it kind of make me feel in the team.
When we did an Ingressive 1.0, right, I think we passed it on to another set of people, right? And those guys are doing amazing, right? So one is even a co-founder of a new startup, even.
I already had 2 job offers before I defended my project.
I think that single action we made a lot of difference.
The seed.
Just so a seed.
Hearing success stories, hearing people coming to me talking about how they've been impacted personally, how Ingressive for Good has changed their lives or changed their perspective, it's crazy. I really love how almost every single member has a story to tell.
Before I4G Data Camp Scholarship, I was broke and depressed. So after I4G Data Camp Scholarship, I'm happy and I'm not rich, but I'm comfortable. If I hadn't come across that I4G Data Camp Scholarship, I would have given up. Winning that laptop from Ingressive for Good, that was the first win I got from Ingressive for Good. Aside that, the experience or the knowledge I've gained from learning from Data Camp, that has helped me put out good projects out there, and I've gotten a couple of persons reach out to me from Twitter that they want to work with me, they like what I'm doing, and I've even gotten a job in under 5 months of being a data analyst. I've also gotten contracts, to work on projects.
People want to build a startup. People just want to be the next Andela. They want to be the next Paystack. But in my own demographic, it's quite different because the infrastructure is not there. Even if you have that talent, there are some things you still lack. So how I changed the narrative is that I started Tech Hub to bring people together, teach them what they need to learn, mentor them on some basic things that would position them for that opportunity. I created a program, Startup Build. So the Startup Build is to bring young talents together, nourish them, provide them with the necessary resources to set up a startup, whereby we also get connected with big tech firms in Lagos, Abuja, and some other part of the world to showcase this talent. That okay, come, we have this talent here. If you can help them, they can literally do anything. So I4G helped me with resources. They provide me the structure I need to get that or achieve that dream.
But the training has really opened up a lot of experience for me. I didn't expect it to be that engaging, you know. I have no background in anything computer, tech. I find it hard to appraise computer. That's the thing that I hate to admit, but it's something that I find it hard. I remember my first time, I was looking for art. Like, where is art? On the keyboard. The project phase was it for me. It was it for me. I learned a lot. Through the project phase, I was able to grow build my own portfolio websites. Without the project phase, I don't think I will be able to do that, because it was through what I learned from project phase I was able to do that. Before now, I know I've done a lot of things. I've tried to engage in a lot of things that I didn't work out. But this worked out. It gave me the willingness to push for what I desire, what I always look out for.
If I didn't encounter I4G, I wouldn't really know much about tech, because I was just normal fixed about let's resume, let's go back to school, let's finish and get job, normal Nigerian thinking. So when I4G came, I started getting to know more about tech, career. I started, because it's not only just classes. We do meetings on the group or Twitter spaces, all those kind of stuff. So it's not just about the tech part. I4G, if I didn't meet I4G, mentally, I don't even know self. I've gotten jobs, but not permanent jobs, not just gigs that, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then I'll get paid for it. The Twitter spaces, the continuous Twitter spaces I used to do, I used to join in, I used to hear from people that have made it, people that have passed through stuffs like I have passed through and they're still making it. So it gives me confidence, it gives me hope that yes, I can still become something.
She has a brighter future. Yes, she's going places. Yes, sure for her.
I4G was very instrumental in giving me the tools that I needed, giving me like an entire a big e-learning platform with unlimited free courses to do it. It just gave me a chance to try out many things without financial burden affecting access to those courses. And it really helped my life. Like it did. It really did. My earning power was increased from what I used to earn before. If I could quantify it, right now about 3x what I used to earn before. I think what happened in my case was where preparation met opportunity. Without Ingressive for good, I would not have been prepared for the opportunity that came at that point in time.
My life has been so different since I encountered I4G. I've learned more skills. Aside the product design, I also applied for the financial women, the one with the Money Africa. Through I4G, I'm learning other skills aside what I went for in the first place. So it's been a tremendous journey. I'm looking forward to a bright future. I'm looking forward to really become the woman I want to be, because I have a picture in my mind of the kind of person I want to be. So all the things I'm learning are just that phases to where I want to be, to where I'm going.
As I know her, once she have a job, a good job, my family will be transformed. And I am now encouraging parents to allow their children come into the in and learn what will bring them up for future.
I know how difficult it is starting a career in tech, at least for somebody that has been there before. So I would advise anyone who's starting a career in tech to, first of all, look for communities. Communities like I4G, like they're very supportive and they put out scholarships from time to time, different tech career you want to pursue, be it product design, product management, data camp, and web development as well. So I would advise the person to join communities first, and then you need to learn how to work hard.
I discovered that tech is a place for for everyone. If despite just your skill, that's why I've been trying to ever since I graduated from the Zurich, I'm trying to learn. To learn more skill, to work on my skill, to upgrade my my ideas and everything I've learned. Unlike the previous one where everyone was looking out for someone that has a degree. What even gave me much hope for that is that I applied for internship last, I think, day before yesterday. So they reached out to me. They said that they liked my work. It was an international company. They said they like because I submitted some of my CV and some of my work. They said they like my work, but it's a fintech company, so they can't work with foreigners. It has to be people so the statement that they liked my work, I'm like, so this is it. So it gave me more hope to keep on pushing and keep on. And I will never stop until I get a job and explore and inspire others. And that's really my goal. I want to inspire people around me. Tech is for everyone. If you really know what you want, you really want to give it a try.
I'm a kind of person that I don't look at my environment. I'm not intimidated in any way. When you fall, stand up and walk. And that's because I do not believe the environment is capable enough to keep you down. So, the only inspiration you need is you.
My own vision is that at least whatever I do, I want to be able to touch other people's lives. And I think tech is because tech is now doing that for me now. Because coming into tech has inspired other people around me too. Like some of my friends that we also do painting, they're like, so guy, you can do this thing, and it's working, and it's doing that for me too.
We don't have this knowledge in the recent past. We don't know anything about tech. Just recently that they started strike and she started going to the net. That is when we have the idea of tech. If we had known, maybe we wouldn't have even gone into medical something. But because that is where we are and that is what we know. That is why we encourage her to. If we had known that there's a better thing like tech, we would have encouraged her to go into tech.
What I've done for a lot of people within my circles, within my space, especially those that are maybe not happy with what they're doing or feel like their job is just a job, I try to tell them that there are a lot of things that you can learn. Like learning is very accessible, and that there's this platform called Ingressive for Good. There's this community you can join that literally just throws opportunities to improve yourself, one broadcast after broadcast after broadcast. If it's not a scholarship program targeted at women today, it's free access to data camp for 6 months, or access to an e-learning platform where you learn a bunch of stuff for free. And right now, skills are valued more by employers than what you studied or what your score was at in university.
It's not going to be easy, right? Just be consistent, and as you are consistent, build a network of people you can rely on. And the way to build a network of people you can rely on is entering communities, associate talk. Even me, I'm not a speaker, right? But that was Ingressive for Good was the first time I ever gave a talk publicly. So it helped me cure one aspect of fear in my body. So yeah, so be consistent and let your work speak for you.
I remember when we did our I4G Abuja hangout. It was so shocking that almost 300 people registered for that hangout in less than 3 hours. We had to shut down the page. And on the day, over 100 plus people showed up. And while those 100 plus people showed up, while I was standing there in front of all of these people, everybody had a success story. Everybody knew exactly how I4G had exposed them, changed their lives. Civil servants had gone from being civil servants who felt like, it was over for them, to now working in big companies. Someone was even, I think one of them said he got a job in Germany from here, from the comfort of his home. And that was just so touching for me.
I4G has sponsored me to go to for a trip to Rwanda, and for that I've been grateful. And when I returned, I have done a lot of things to the community also, and I'm even trying to gradually change my career from web developer to AR VR into metaverse. When I heard I was going to Rwanda, it was like the best moment of my life. I felt so happy, like a guy from here, like a guy from the trenches, going outside, international. It was amazing. It was really, really amazing.
I'm sure anybody who is in our community has heard this story a million times, but she inspires me so much. She was from a family of 6, learned how to make soap, liquid soap, and then she used to earn 20,000 naira a month from that liquid soap making, and in dollars that's less than $40, and that's not exactly a great place to be. It's even almost probably less than $30 at the moment. And she just aspired that she wanted more for her life, she wanted more for herself. So she took a course with us and then learned software development. I think then we were partnering with HNG, which later morphed into Zuri, split into Zuri and HNG. But then she took the software development program. Within 6 months, she would go to cyber cafes, she would borrow laptops. Her laptops gave up on her. It was really difficult for her. She was dealing with a lot of challenges, lights, laptop issues, many things. But one of the things that was really inspiring about her story was how much she persevered and pushed for it. And eventually, she reached out and told us she didn't have a laptop. We were able to provide one for her. Now this lady is earning 6 figures in Naira. She has secured a couple of jobs. Paulina John, who went from HR to not having a job for a bit, and then next thing, different recruiters from around the world are reaching out to her, offering her 3 times to 5 times what she was earning before. That's a story.
The other success story that I would say is a guy that was working, that recently launched a startup in Abuja. His name is Ayode Leon. William is now building a startup and is currently looking for funding.
Currently, I'm trying to build up a community for educators in the metaverse, and so that's why I want to start from the scratch, showing the kids around, and if they come up with it, it's going to be like a thing for them. When kids are shown something, it sticks with them, right? So, and I think starting up with the kids is actually going to boost up their thinking capability and technological senses, and I think the metaverse is a thing for everyone, even for the kids. Joining I4G has been a really cool experience for me because I actually have never thought that I'll be where I am today. I wouldn't be here if it's not for I4G actually, because the way I'd planned my life is not the way it is driving me right now. It's very, very better. Very much better. Yes.
And we've gone from 0 to 200,000 plus people in our community, which I'm sure would change by the time this documentary is out. We've also trained over 100,000 plus people in data design, software development, product management, and marketing. And very soon we'll be adding Web3 to our curriculum. We've had some people exposed to VR, AR, the metaverse. It's been interesting. We've partnered with big top-level organizations, Money Africa, Coursera, DataCamp, Geniza, Zuri, Polygon. It's beyond. We knew we would grow, but this growth is different. We had 3 core goals, right? Train 1 million people, disburse $1 million in scholarships, and give 5,000 people jobs. And it's just been massive. Our people are running businesses worth $30 million now, employing other people. We have people working in InterSwitch, Flutterwave, Team App, other countries, Canada, Germany. It's so interesting. Russia, when I think about it, it makes me so happy.
We started in Nigeria, then Ghana, then we are in over 100 countries, across the world. I recently got an email where someone wanted to start a community in Russia.
I remember when we first started, there was a lot of mix-ups between Ingressive Capital and Ingressive for Good, but lately and even before that, now people are looking at the entire brand and they're recognizing the work that we're doing as a foundation. Every single place I go, there is somebody who it's either them or it's somebody in their family or whatever is like, oh, my such and such took this course, or oh my God, thank you, I got a job. I remember when these two guys were ambassadors, I think it was like 2018 or 2019. I remember the picture of them standing in front of their school with a bunch of students. There were a lot of dust, there was a lot of it was the struggle. Like you can just see that these were young kids that were trying to push and find their own way. Fast forward to them not only partnering on a collaborative project and getting to know each other and starting a company, but then they were able to come to us like, hey, look what we created, look what we built, like what do we do with this, or how can you help us? And us being able to push them forward, connect them with our sister company, help them get investment, and see them really just become this multi-million-dollar company is amazing. But that's not my favorite part. My favorite part is after all of that happened, after now they're very well established and they're doing their thing, now they're looking back at us like, how can we help support you? How can we help pull other students like us along and through that pipeline and create more of our story? That one, every time I think about it, it kind of touches me a little bit because it's just kind of like that really encapsulates exactly what we wanted to do, building African capacity to the point where now we are self-sustaining. The businesses and the talent that are being created is now giving back to the community.
We give back to the community because we feel that it's one way to express our gratitude for what community has done for us.
Okay, we are giving back to the ecosystem. One way we are doing that is through our donation. Another way is hiring. Obviously, we know how the job market is right now, so hiring is one way that we're, I would say, helping out to give jobs to others. I4G is doing a really good job. I mean, we are a product of I4G, if you put it that way. Not everyone wants to do a non-profit business. So I4G is doing so great taking this on.
The biggest challenge running Ingressive for Good is fundraising. I think that we put some really audacious goals out there and we bust our humps every day to focus on running these programs, reaching out to people, making phone calls, sending out emails, reaching out for partnerships and all of these different things, and really pushing out there to let the story and let the impact be the thing that draws people's attention, that pulls people in to want to donate and support our cause.
By now, we've definitely received over 150,000 applications in total, and we've had to turn over 50,000 people back because we only had 100,000 opportunities to give. While that might sound like success, saying no to anyone who really deserves an opportunity is heartbreaking. But of course, funds are limited and it's hard, but we try to console ourselves with the success stories and the people who are actually accessing and taking advantage of those opportunities. So it's hard, and for sure more donors will be able to help us solve that problem.
If you want to support Ingressive for Good, donate your time, donate money, finances, courses, share the opportunities with fellow students, share the opportunities with fellow Africans, and just talk about us. If there's nothing that you can do, reshare what we post, reshare our blog posts, and talk about us and everywhere and anywhere.
Being a beneficiary of this wonderful opportunity, I've already started channeling people. I've started reaching out to people, anyone that cares to know. I'm also reaching out to somebody that doesn't even care to know that this is the right place. Go this way.
For that, I'm very grateful. And that is why I'm here today, to give my thanks, giving all my support. So I'm praying that God will lift you up, give you the knowledge to uphold this company well. God will progress you.
Just felt that so things like this can happen in our country. So I'm happy. And I'm grateful.
Since the time I started with I4G, everybody I meet, you people should better follow I4G. You people should better apply for scholarships with I4G. Like, if you join Ingressive for good, you don't just get the tech part, you get everything about life. Like, you get to see people that have gone through what you've gone through, and then you can learn from them. You can, like, I used to watch your videos, so I like anybody that tells me I4G that they want to learn something, I will always tell them, you guys should wait. I'll get the scholarship information soon from I4G, and I'll send it to you. Like, I'm always confident that you people will come through. I4G will come through with the scholarship information, and then any information. So anybody that wants to come into tech, I4G is the GO.
We can't stop what we are doing at this point. Ingressive for Good will always continue to be a big story in almost everyone's life across Africa.
Tech is a leveler. It doesn't judge you based on your race, your color, your religion, anything, and it's just your skills. What skills do you have? What access do you have? In many ways, I4G has helped me appreciate, skill. It has helped me appreciate the fact that some people just need just one experience, one touch, just one moment. They don't need too much. They just need that one moment. And that one moment could come in different ways, right? We've partnered with very interesting companies, Taylor, Team App, and just maybe helping them change their workspace changes their lives. Just giving them this extra money that they need just changes their lives. Laptops, just really truly being there and making lives better like I always plan to do. That's touching. If money was not a problem, for sure, in less than 1 year, we can train our 1 million people. If money was not a problem, we would be faster with placing the people that we're training. If money was not a problem, we would have better partnerships, more partnerships actually, not better, but just more. And we would be able to impact, we think that we'd be able to reach people on a more deeper scale. So if really you can make money not our problem, we'd really appreciate it.
The thing that we're doing is something that should be taken on by ministries and governments and entire countries and different things like that. But it's a small group of very passionate people that are changing things. And I want people to know, like, you too can do that.
It's a different thing when you're watching something on the news. It's a different thing when you see people in need on the news or on social media. And it's a different thing when you witness it firsthand. It humbles you to see that there's so much of the world that could be better if one person will just put their light in their window. In a very dark alley, the light reflecting from your window is the one light that one person needs to cross through that path. So even if the whole world is not doing something big at the moment, even if the whole street turns off their lights, your one light is enough to save that person. And I4G has taught me that okay, one light is enough.